Hello, everyone. Today is a good day. Okay, today's Monday. Whoop whoop. Okay, so I come to you with a heavy heart. Oh boy, we have to do something about this. I want to talk about our young Black American young people that are dying at such a young age and killing people at a young age. Why? Why is that happening? We need to find out. We need to investigate. Where are the investigation? We need more of journalists, detectives, or something that is really want to get the bottom of this because this is just really suspicious of why this is going on. And we need to try to remedy it so it won't keep happening at a large scale. I mean, it's always that's always been something. But now it's just going on too much, and I really want to talk more about this. Just happened March the 16th, 2024, where this young man from Pennsylvania who killed people in his family. And I'm always talking about family. You know, um, so this really caught my eye, and when I heard, I was like, "Oh, another one." It was just another one not too long ago that they killed. Oh man, was it 6 people in his family? Well, let's hear a little bit about what was sold on the news.
That's where authorities say 26-year-old Andre Gordon surrendered. This after he allegedly murdered 3 people across the river. His day-long crime spree began in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, where his victims were killed in 2 separate locations. Investigators say he then carjacked someone before making his way over into New Jersey. Action News has team coverage from where it all began in Levittown to where it ended in Trenton. Brianna Smith begins our live coverage from Levittown tonight. Brianna.
Walter, several law enforcement agencies have been investigating crime scenes from here in Levittown, Pennsylvania, all the way to Trenton, New Jersey, and trying to figure out what happened here. And they're also trying to figure out why that 26-year-old suspect came here with an AR-15 style rifle to kill his stepmother, his sister, and the mother of his 2 young daughters.
It was very shocking and unsettling the whole entire day. I thought it's going to be a nice, relaxing day.
But instead, Levittown residents received an alert Saturday morning to shelter in place for 3 hours because of an active shooter.
I saw a whole bunch of cop cars racing up and down the street.
26-year-old Andre Gordon Jr.'s alleged crime spree started with the carjacking of Sonia Hansen in Trenton this morning.
Guys started banging on my car with the back of the gun. And then I jumped over the seat and ran. I'm so glad I'm just alive because I think he could have killed me.
Falls Township Police say Gordon drove that stolen vehicle from Trenton to Viewpoint Lane in Levittown just before 9 a.m. That's where he broke into a home and shot and killed his stepmother, 52-year-old Karen Gordon, and his sister, 13-year-old Kara Gordon, who was an 8th grade student at Bayne Middle School.
There were 3 other individuals at the residence, including a minor, inside the home who were able to hide.
This neighbor's video shows Gordon escape to a silver car and speed to another home on Edgewood Lane in Levittown. Police say Gordon shot and killed 25-year-old Taylor Daniel, who is the mother of his 2 children. Her friend shared these photos of Daniel, describing her as a supermom who was a beautiful, carefree, happy soul.
And there were 4 other individuals present inside that home, one of which was injured after being bludgeoned by Gordon with the assault rifle.
Police say Daniel's mother was hit and rushed to the hospital for treatment. Then around 9:15 a.m., Gordon carjacked a 44-year-old man in the Dollar General on Bristol Pike in Morrisville and fled without hurting him.
I feel for the little kids because now they're without the mother and the father.
And again, police are still investigating to determine a motive. They're here right now to secure the scene. And as for the suspect's criminal history, Falls Township police say they've had minor contact with him in the past, and criminal dockets show he only had traffic violations. Live in Levittown, Brianna Smith for Action News at 10 on PHL 17. Walter?
Okay, Brianna, thank you. After the brutal rampage in Bucks County, authorities say the suspect made his way into New Jersey. Just about 10 miles over the state line, Gordon barricaded himself inside a home in Trenton. Chopper 6 captured the scene along Phillips Street at about 3:30 this afternoon. You can see members of a SWAT.
What in the world would have made him want to do that? I mean, I'm just going to aim to him. I'm just going to talk about him right now. Because I do believe all of it's connected. I do believe all of these young people killing their family members and others at such a young age has some kind of connection. It's something that is going on in their young life that is setting them up for this. This man who fatally shot a 13-year-old sister. They didn't say half sister, but they said he killed his stepmom. And the 13-year-old sister, and killed the mother of his 2 children, who happened to be a Caucasian young woman. Now, he was 26. He is charged with carjacking, second-degree possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, second-degree unlawful possession of an assault firearm, third-degree unlawful possession of a firearm without a serial number, a third-degree receiving stolen property, fourth degree unlawful possession of a large capacity ammunition, and fourth degree possession of a hollow point ammunition. Wow. Now he carjacked a person, drove to Trenton to get to Leventon, Pennsylvania, where he's suspected of killing the victims of 2 locations. So he didn't have a car, but he had a gun. You see that? It's easier to get a gun than it is to get a car. Or should I say it's easier to buy a gun than it is to buy a car. And then he had a standoff. But he wound up surrendering. So even with a high capacity gun, he still was able to be apprehended unhurt. Okay, now he was spotted on New York Avenue at the back entrance of a hospital less than a quarter mile away, and then taken into custody without incident. So he got away out of the house that he was even that he was in. Wow, this is, he was barricaded. Let's hear this.
The big story in Action News is the latest on the investigation into a triple murder and double carjacking that ended with a 5-hour standoff. The suspect, Andre Gordon, has been charged in Mercer County, New Jersey, and is facing additional charges in Bucks County, where authorities say he went on a killing spree. Action News reporter Brianna Smith is following the investigation.
Carjack,
She joins
two-
us live
two
in
cars.
Levittown, Bucks County, where Gordon is accused of killing 3 family members. Brianna.
Walter, police say it all started here at this home on Viewpoint Lane, where Gordon killed his stepmother and then his sister. Now, as you can see, it looks much different than yesterday. The crime tape is down, police are gone, but the investigation continues. Meanwhile, authorities say the suspect is being held in Mercer County Correction Center until he's extradited back here to Bucks County. This is the suspect, 26-year-old Andre Gordon Jr. Police say he surrendered peacefully on New York Avenue in Trenton around 5 p.m. Saturday. Investigators say that came after barricading himself inside a house on Phillips Avenue and holding people hostage for hours. But the crime spree began just before 9 a.m. 26-year-old man
You
accused of
held people. Oh boy, I didn't see that in his being charged with. He also going to be charged with kidnapping. 26 years old. Now, we need to really dig deep into people like that, their lives, and see what's going on, because we need to change something. We don't know about the parents, how they were raised, how their life was during pregnancy, after birth, how was his school, how his teachers, his doctors. We have to go deep. Because I'm beginning to wonder what is happening to these kids, not only during school, but also their medical care. Because when you have kids, you have to take them to the doctor. I was told, I don't know if it's like that now, but we took our kids to the doctor once a year. They got their shots on time. And they started going to preschool sometimes at the age of 3. And then some kids at 4 start a half a day of kindergarten. So we have to understand what's going on, because as we can see in this political climate that we're living in, that there is a lot of evil, mean people out there that could be our kids' doctors and teachers and dentists and social workers. We don't know. And we have to really find out what is going on in our children's life, especially minorities, because they already are sometimes getting less care, less expensive care. And some of them are coming from not so enriched or educated families. Like I heard somebody on the TV today saying families are not raised by the village anymore. Most of these kids are being raised by isolated family members. That's why a lot of these kids are able to be abused for 10, 11 years before anybody even know. And by then they are damaged. But nothing is impossible. We can get better. Even growing up in a dysfunctional home, if we give them a helping hand. And our society goes like this. They don't do nothing until something bad happens. We're not in the prevention most of the time. You know, you see a child being born to a child. Isn't that the time to get involved instead of waiting till the child has been damaged? You know, and a lot of this stuff, we don't want to really talk about it because we don't want to, you know, make the white people feel uncomfortable. But a lot of our young Black Americans are going through this. The functioning of the society. You know, we should look at the history. We have to look more at the history of the family, of the neighborhood, of the school. We need to look at all of that. And a lot of us don't have time to do that because we wasn't raised to do that. We just put our kids in child care because, you know, our choices are very, very slim. You know, like they said, beggars can't be choosy. So when you are getting money from the state or in a low paying job and stuff, your choices are very limited. But we have to stop doing it. We have to stop being more vigilant with our children. And as I was talking about the falsification of the African consciousness, okay, our kids are not being raised to be warriors of change. They're not being taught to be better, have better, and expect better, and to do better than their parents. And that all sums up to how you see better. Some people have different ideas of what better is. But like this was saying, this is by Amos N. Wilson. All Black parents need to have books by him and need to have more African conscious books and pictures on their walls. It could help. It can help. It won't hurt. Let's see. Right here, page 20 says, those of us who are Afrocentric and mystical must know that the division of past, present, and future is false, Eurocentric, and political. The world is not a linear structure. Past, present, and future are one and the same. If you forget your past, you would not be able to understand me right now. You would not be able to walk or talk. You did not learn to walk and talk and do the things you're doing at the moment you entered here. You learned to do them in the past. Now, and that is very true, because what we learn as babies, it carries on to how we perceive ourselves and others in the future. And a lot of these kids are not learning about racism soon enough. And I know now we have to fight the fact that white people don't want their kids to learn about racism because they think that it's going to make them feel sad. And I heard somebody said that they don't want their kids to learn about racism and race theory and all of that because their kids may have came and home and thought and said something like, "Are all white people evil? Are all white people racist? Why did white people do that to black people? And they don't want to answer to that. They don't want their kids to feel like that, feel uncomfortable being white, which is so stupid. How do you think we feel when we have to know that we came from people that were so enslaved, worked for free? And a lot of people can say that. White people have slaves in their background. Indians were first slaves. I mean, it's just a part of our history. This is quoted from Joel Cavell's White Racism, a psychohistory. When we go to see a psychiatrist or a psychologist, social worker, or a psychotherapist, one of the first things they do is take a so-called case history. You know that's true. They want to know about your family. They want to know how you grew up. They recognize that they cannot appropriately understand us as individuals unless they understand something about our unique experience as individuals. Now, the same thing is true about a people. We cannot take psychology of Europeans. That's why a lot of us don't get the proper care, because we are being analyzed by European standards. Because when these psychologists go to school and stuff, they are learning from Caucasian people and their point of view. And it's often stated that this is a rationale for my writing of the book, The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child, which is based upon their history and experience, upon their values and their goals, and apply it unmodified to ourselves. And this leads to misunderstanding and misdirection. And one of the major problems I often point out in this context, in the area of education, is that we have a situation where the educational psychology that taught to teachers and others who are in charge of our children is a psychology based on the history and experience of another people. And despite the best intentions of these educators, they will miseducate our children in terms of psychology. To a very great extent, the problem with the education of Black children, the crack epidemic, and all of those other things we complain about day in and day out are the results of psychology that flows from a particular type of historical experience. We have a school system that is based upon the psychology of white children and white people. We are trying to educate our children in that system that are bound to fail. The very structure of the educational system itself is based upon, now listen to this, a white model, and therefore has a built-in failure mechanism for us one way or another. We must develop a psychology of our children based upon our own history and experience. It is only then that our pedagogical and educational approaches will be in line with their personalities. Only then can we move our children forward to fulfill our needs and our desires as a people. If we wish to understand ourselves and wish to understand other people's psychology, we must then understand our history and their history. We must be clear about this matter. And it all is wrapped up in language and power. Because see, when you go to school, and it's been like that since I can remember, that when you go to school and you open up them books, most of the people in those books and illustrations are of the old Caucasian persuasion. Okay. And then we sending our black kids to these uh Christian schools, and they have a white Jesus, a white God in front of them. You have white people all in your books, and you most likely gonna have basically white teachers. What is that doing to our kids? Our brain. What is that really psychologically doing to their brain? And it also brings out that we recognize the intimate relationship between culture, history, and personality. All of that is together. All that is because your personality really regulates on how you treat others, how you treat yourself, and how you develop into a human being. Now, it's so sad that we have somebody on the national stage calling people not humans. That's why I said our society has to be checked because it is damaging our kids more than we know. I'm not going to be on here too long because this is something that I want to talk about more. We're going to have to start having more schools that are holistic, that kids are being taught the way they are learned, how they learn. And we need to get to the bottom of why our young Black Americans are killing so many other Black Americans, going to jail for the rest of their life, killing their family. You hear about this, we're not going to hear no more. It'll be, we're not going to hear what's really going on. We're going to have to start raising our kids right, because it does not make any sense at all. And I would love to hear about what you all think and what we can do to find out the reason before it happens again, or happens to one of our people, or happen to one of us. You know, this is really something that needs to be talked about. We need to be talking about this more than these other people that they talk about so much. Well, I'm gonna talk about it because I really think that our future is depending on us doing something now. All right, thank you for listening, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.